So one of the comments in the last video brought up the fact that I was letting go of my MPC. Actually have two MPCs. I have an MPC X sitting on the floor over there and MPC Key sitting on the floor over there. The reason they're on the floor is because I'm in the process of trying to sell them. I still have them. I haven't sold them yet. And, you know, I've been going kind of like through a studio like transformation, to be honest. I've been really tapped in with the EA Ski conversation. And, you know, I'll be honest, like he inspired me like a lot. Like I got to give him his flowers. I really appreciate what he's doing for the community. I feel like I have enough on this topic for it to be a video of its own, so I'm not going to go too far down this rabbit hole right now. But, you know, salute to EA Ski, man. I've learned a lot myself, you know. I'll be the first to admit that I'm still figuring this stuff out, you know. But let's get back to the point. Comments, I got a comment and they asked why I was getting rid of my MPCs. And I think there's 5 primary reasons, right? I'm going to try to lay this out as, you know, coherently and as straight to the point as I can. One of the reasons is the sound, right? Like I'm really looking for a machine at this point, at this stage in my journey, that's really going to have some weight to it, right? Like I love the sound of the 90s, right? Like I love lots of music outside of that era as well. But when I really think about like what era of hip hop connected with me the most, right? It's like the 90s by far. So, you know, anything that's gonna kind of help me capture that aesthetic, right? I'm for it, right? I never had an SP1200. It's something I'm looking into, you know, for perhaps the future. I don't think it's anything urgent at this stage, but it is. If I got any other drum machine, it's going to be the SP1200. I can say that definitively. But I think I would go with the Rossum. One thing I've kind of decided is that I'm not going to go buy a 30-year-old drum machine, you know, because once again, I don't have the time to manage the maintenance. Like I need something that I know is going to work, but, you know, is giving a salute to that era, right? I know a lot, you know, get into like, well, does it sound exactly the same or not? Truthfully, I couldn't tell you. But I mean, the S2400 does bang. It does bang, and it's got a really dope texture and sound to it that I've just come to love. You know, the MPC is a very transparent. They say that, you know, oh well, you can get whatever sound you want out of it by just, you know, modifying it, and that may be true, right? But I think that this actually leads me into maybe the second reason I'm moving away from the MPC is simplicity. You know, like the MPC, you know, maybe it can, let's say it can get to the sound that the S2400 has, but it's going to take a lot more steps. I can say that based off of experience. And, you know, I'm really at this stage just looking for simplicity. I don't want to have to do a lot of extra stuff to get to the sound that I want. I mean, especially if I don't have to. If I didn't have a choice, then it is what it is. But if I have a machine that's going to get me straight there just from turning it on, right, versus having to load up a whole bunch of plugins, then I'm all for that. And, you know, I think, you know, on the simplicity topic, I think that's going to be kind of like an underlying theme on this channel, right? Like on a music level, you're going to see me pursuing, you know, kind of like script back workflows, kind of like you know, raw approaches to things, but kind of underlying all of this is just the idea of just trying to just get to a simpler life, man. You know, like the world's going nuts. I know there's many out there that just wouldn't mind slowing things down a little bit, right? Like, you know, we just advance. But, you know, it's okay to just take a few breaths, you know, it's okay to relax, take some breaths in, and, you know, everything doesn't have to be this. You know what I mean? Like, people want to make beats in 5 minutes and 10 minutes, and then they want to put a trophy on the wall. But what are you celebrating, right? Like, what's the win? What's the win with that? You know, making beats on the S2400, it might take more time, but it's just a more stripped down, kind of just raw and simple process, right? So kind of just getting back to simplicity. So I think that's two reasons. And then the third reason, it kind of ties into simplicity, but we'll go a little deeper, is workflow. People get the MPC to try to pull away from the computer, but I mean, that MPC has just as much going on as my computer does. You know, like, I might be exaggerating a little bit, but not that much. You know, another element to this too is that I've made the decision for now, and this isn't to say that this won't evolve or can't change over time, but I've made the decision for now to just stick with primarily sampling. Like, I look at my sampler now as an instrument. When I started looking at it like that, it changed my perspective, because it's like, it made me want to like shut everything else out, right? If you're a violinist, like, you become a master at playing the violin. You're not playing the trumpet and the, you know, stand up bass and, you know, being the conductor all at the same time, right? Like, you become a master of your instrument. And so, you know, I'm at a point where I've decided that the sampler is my instrument and I want to master it. Back to the workflow conversation, right? I don't need plug-in instruments. I don't need a keyboard on my sampler. You know, any sound that I want to use to make beats today, right? Like I said, this can change, but as of now, like, you gotta go through him. You gotta go through him to get to them. You hear me? Right? You gotta go through the S2400 to come out of these speakers. So, you know, if I need a sound, like, I'm gonna go find it somewhere and sample it, right? I don't need a keyboard to play it. So that's why this. So I mean, hopefully that's starting to kind of like paint a picture, right? The MPC has, like, I need 5% of what the MPC does. Listen, I'm not here to pretend like I have everything figured out, right? Like, I'm learning along with you, and everyone else. You know, still figuring out, like where this all leads. Like, I don't know. I think that covers the workflow side of things. And then there's two other reasons. I might have to check my notes because I do not remember. I wrote them down earlier. Oh, here's my phone. I am liking this whole, like, single shot format, because I am not going to have to do much editing. Okay, sorry. Bear with me here. Okay, so sound, the workflow, simplicity. All right, so that's 3 reasons. And then I think those are like the 3 like big reasons why I'm getting rid of my MPC. The sound, I want simplicity, and I want a simpler workflow. The workflow and the simplicity ones really kind of tie together, but just cover different angles. But yeah, the workflow, I mean, on the MPC, it has a workflow, but I don't want that workflow. I want something simpler. I want less. And then, okay, so here's reason 4, and then I'm going to give you reason 5, and reason 5 is going to make you laugh. Reason 4 is, if we're being truthful about it, if we're being honest about it, is nostalgia, right? Like I said, like, I really like the hip hop of the 90s is like my favorite era. And, having a beat machine that kind of like captures that nostalgia and kind of like was inspired by that era just inspires me, and you look at the S2400 and it just kind of just has that feel. It just kind of has that look, especially when you put, I mean, at least mine does, right? Because I mean, I know the stock ones, they have the silver sides. It's a little bit more futuristic looking, but with the console on there, I think it looks super analog. And I just find it to be kind of just like inspiring. It's just like, it's just fun. Like I like that aspect of it, kind of getting that like dusty sound out of there, and kind of just makes you feel like you're in a little bit of a time portal. So those are 4 reasons, and then number 5 is probably going to make you laugh. Probably gonna get me some shade in the comments. The 5th reason for me is the looks of the machine, because the more and more I've kind of just like started to like dig in and research the classic machines versus these new age machines, like, I hate to say it, I don't really want to say this, but they kind of look like, I'm looking at, you see me looking this way, it's because I'm looking at them, they're on the floor over there. Like, they really have kind of started to look like toys to me. And it's like, it's one of those things that like, once I saw it, I couldn't unsee it. Like, there was a long period where, I tried to convince myself to keep my MPCs, and I was kind of like going back and forth, and I'm like, I can have all these machines, right? I could just keep them all. But I couldn't unsee like that the MPC X just looks like it looks like a video gaming station or something. Now it's like I can't I can't look at it and take it seriously anymore. And maybe that's just because like the S2400 just looks like so like mature and like grown up, with its like wooden edges, right? And to be fair, the wood doesn't come with the machine, but this is what I'm looking at every day. And then I look at my MPC and I'm just like, oh. And I, like I said, I don't say that to be disparaging or, or to make anyone who loves their MPC feel any way about it, but I'm just being fully transparent. I think it's just like a funny thing, I'm not trying to convince anybody that the MPC looks bad. But that's just where I'm at with it. I'll admit the MPC key, which I have too, the MPC key 61. Let me be specific. The 61 I think looks a bit more mature. It has like, because it's all black, it's kind of like a little bit of a matte finish to it, and it just kind of looks sleek, right? Like, I maybe wouldn't apply what I'm saying as much to the 61, because I think the 61, out of all of their machines, I think the 61 looks the most grown up. The new ones, the Key 37 and the MPC 1 Plus that are just all red, that's not my flavor. But the MPC X, I just kind of, I can't unsee it. But listen, that's my own personal take, that I am by no means trying to sell anybody on. If you love the way your MPC looks, then that is awesome. So, what matters the most is what inspires you, right? Not what inspires me. Like, this gets me inspired, but if the MPC gets you inspired and that gets you to tap into what's in here and make some amazing music, then by all means, that's what you should be using, right? I'm not here to sell anybody on anything. I'm just sharing my perspectives and hopefully creating some conversation. So yeah, that's my 5 reasons. I think I covered that pretty thoroughly. I appreciate everyone that has tuned in. Like, subscribe, hit that notification, or hit that bell. Hit the bell so you can get your notifications. And I appreciate y'all. Peace.